Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy right here is Evil Mike, and I got a review for you. This is going to be a Deep Beyond from Image Comics. Um, let's get the Whose House Wins What's... Alright, it's written by my girl Mirka Andolfo, and also written by David Goy. Then is art by Andrea Broccardo. Then is colors by Barbara Nosenzo, and then letters by Fabio Amelia. I know I mispronounced those names. No disrespect at all. This guy's just bad with names. But for those of y'all that know, I'm a big Mirka fan as it is. I picked up this book like when I first found out about Mirka, and I started looking for different stuff that she had done, and I had found Deep Beyond. This is the Stjepan Sejic cover. I have not been able to find like the Mirka cover, which I think is cover B, and they also have a Peach Momoko, which is cover C, that I would be entitled to pick up if I found either or, but I always want Mirka. But she is the writer and not the artist on the series, so I'm just happy to read the series. But let's get into the review. So I do remember that when this book dropped, and there was only like a couple things I heard about the first couple issues, is that it was really good all over the place, and it kind of felt like it wasn't going anywhere, and that's why they dropped it or something like that. I mean, my feelings after reading this first issue, and I already have the second issue ready to go. I actually have the whole series ready to go. But I really dug it. I will say I kind of get what they were talking about it being all over the place, and we'll get there. So it does start off right here, and we start off with Pam, and it looks like a underwater something, maybe a submarine station. Later on we do find out that it is a massive like submarine, that it is in the ocean, but it didn't really paint that, but it does say in the deep North Atlantic Ocean, and that's about it. But it's this girl Pam, and she's like leaving this last message, or like an SOS message basically, and they show that she's got this infection on her, and they show like all this stuff like growing around the station, and it looks like eventually getting her, kind of like a squid or something in the window. It kind of jumps to the next day, and there's a whole bunch of stuff happens. I kind of thought this scene right here, and we run with this guy Ted, and we see it's like kind of like a president, or like a high upstanding party where they have the president's son, and stuff like that. And I thought this was going to be the main story, and basically it's kind of like a setup of like the world that's going on around all this stuff. And basically it ends up being like this terrorist situation where this female that you see is like, she's kind of like the best friend of like the president's son, and she ended up tricking him there, and a whole bunch of other wealthy and high in people, and eventually she like has this whole plan, and you kind of find out a little bit more about the world. It's set in 2085, and the world is like heavily damaged, as you can see, because over here there's like this fog that's coming through, and that's kind of the atmosphere that's outside, and supposedly it looks like Earth is so poisoned that, I mean, you can't even let the atmosphere touch you, kind of thing. I mean, and they show you like some cleanup after what happened, because that was like the whole terrorist, they call themselves the defeatists, and they were basically, she was just trying to knock out a whole bunch of wealthy people and stuff like that. And the way she was going to do it was, there was a bunch of like, where she took out the guards with all these like, knives and guns and stuff. But basically the rest of the people, they just let the atmosphere in, and it killed everybody. It's really weird, because it's kind of unclear whether or not the girl, the terrorist, or the president's son, Ted, they show him right here. They do show her get shot in the shoulder, but I mean, the next scene after that, they just show a cleanup crew, and it's not really, I mean, it, like I said before, as I was reading into it, like you kind of read into it thinking these are like main characters or something like that, and then you find out it's just like a scene. That's where it's a setup, kind of like explaining the lore and the world that this is set in. But we do end up meeting one of our major characters, and his name is Paul, and they end up being a part of this cleanup crew, and they kind of go into like this infomercial about this, colony that they have here that they've set up, and basically it like goes into like all the details of how the colony like functions and what keeps the colony functioning, as far as like them cloning cows and having healthier people, and then having the research and then looking into the ocean. And they do state that a lot of their research goes into looking into the ocean, and some kind of like they're cleaning it's like they're cleaning the ocean, but at the same time they stated like they're looking for this infection that happens to be in the ocean, but they don't really give any more detail than that. I think they mention it like twice during the pages, and that's about it. um, as soon as the commercial's done, because the commercial is just in the background as this guy's walking through, this guy Paul, and Paul's going to this, he's basically going to, and they don't really go into who she is, but she just seems like the head of some kind of government organization, or maybe not necessarily like the president or anything like that, or but maybe assistant to an FBI director or something like that, because she's in here and she's looking in this girl's office, she's looking in Pam's office, and we find out that her name is Eve, and Paul's talking to her, and you can tell both of them know Pam, and they say that Pam is on this like underwater, this research mission that's deep, in the Atlantic Ocean or whatever, and then somehow she's been lost. They do show again at the beginning of the book that something went amiss at the station, but it does go back and forth. That you get the sense they both know Pam. They're both distraught that she's now kind of lost. Paul's going in there trying to get, trying to get her to, set up a rescue mission or something like that. Even saying that he would go as far as like leading a secret mission that's not on, like government record or something like that. It doesn't go that way. And, she just basically shuts him down and sends him out. As soon as he leaves, like, because she does smash this picture of Pam, and as soon as she leaves, she ends up like, receiving this phone call, and he's like, oh, did he leave, and does he know about the anomaly, and it's like this, hush hush government voice type situation, and she states like, no, he doesn't know, and he's gone kind of thing, but she did end up finding some clue in the picture, and that there was another piece of the picture that was behind the picture that was folded over, and she states that she found some like nasty bug or something like that. So it seems to be somebody that they're looking for that's connected to Pam, which we'll get into in a little bit, because they don't waste too long to get into that. So they just catch up with Paul, and he's like, I guess it's kind of going to more into the like, I guess that I think him and Pam had a relationship, and that's kind of what they're showing here, because they show like present day stuff up here, and then they show like, what Paul's like thinking and going through, like he's basically thinking about Pam, and it's basically telling like why they're separated and stuff like that, why he's not with her, because you do find out that they were in a relationship, but eventually it's like she went to go join this task force that was on the research project or whatever, and he ended up staying behind. As this is going on, he's having this like, he's thinking about Pam, like you do see these like kind of like ninja looking guys in the, or guys and girls in the suit, because it does turn out to be a guy and a girl. You can't really tell from the suits though. I actually thought it was two women in the suits, because you'll see in a second. But eventually they take out all these guards, and they do all this like spy sneaking stuff, and they sneak up, and they detain Paul, and they basically are like, hey, we need your help, you gotta come with us, we need your ID clearance, you're gonna come with us whether you like it or not, ha ha ha, kind of thing. And after some disagreement and stuff like that, they basically say we could either shoot you, you know, or you could come with us. And they basically, kind of like in these panels over here, they do show that there is like the secret, you know, passageway that they knew about that had been covered up by the government or something like that. So they take them that way, and it's basically like at least at the outside. And that's when this is kind of like where you get a little more, like a lot more of the lore about the outside world, because they start talking about, like, because he starts freaking out, like, you know, we can't go up there, you know, there's all these monsters, and the plants will kill us and this and that. And that's kind of like their first introduction of, like, you know, because when I was reading the book, you kind of picture it to be like today, just in the future, you know, kind of thing. But it doesn't really look like this world is like that at all, because they do show you on the next couple pages, but they basically, they do reveal who is in the suits, and it is a guy and a girl, and it ends up being this guy named Kevin, and then it ends up being this girl right here, and her name is Jolene. Jolene ends up being Pam's, like, identical twin sister, that I guess Paul did not know about, you know, because Pam didn't really mention her or something like that. So they kind of, you know, they kind of show that there's something going on with Pam that the government's hiding, because she has some, like, she basically has that last message that they show at the beginning of the book, kind of stating that Jolene was the one watching the message or whatever. They do end up going outside, and as you can see right here, and hopefully my camera picks it up, but the outside world is I mean, it looks like some kind of alien jungle, you know, and you'll see a little more right here, because they basically go outside and they're like, yeah, we're gonna get in this truck and we're gonna go that way for hours. And Kevin, you know, like our main guy's like, not Kevin, Paul is like, we're gonna go that way for hours, and Kevin is like, yeah, you know, we're just gonna get in this truck. And as soon as he starts to get in the truck, we see Kevin get killed and the truck get mauled, and that's basically where this issue leaves off at. This pinup right here is of Pam, but that is the Mirka cover that I desperately want. But that is where the issue leaves off. They do give you like a little preview, kind of a nice size preview of what's to come, and it just states, you know, kind of, you know, some of the obvious. Paul has recovered from the mysterious Jolie's shocking resemblance to Pamela, you know. But we'll find out when we get to issue 2. If all things go planned, I might review each individual issue. I don't know. But hey, that's my review. Now, all that's said and done, I liked it. I thought it was really good. It reads really quick. All the flip-flopping around at first, it seems kind of confusing, but as the book goes, it flows really well. But I mean, all that ties into, like, I kind of already knew. I love Mirka. I mean, I love her art, but I also love her writing, and so it's a trusted kind of thing already. But the art was wonderful, paneling, the colorings, all that, everybody combined. It's not just, you know, one person that does these comics kind of thing. But hey, that is my review on the first issue of Deep Beyond so far. It's checking out to be a pretty cool little mystery of a book that we got going on. But hey, that's my review. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you pick this up, you know, let me know. I know the book is already finished. Actually, that's kind of why I'm doing this review right now, because guess what? The trade, the complete trade for Deep Beyond just came out this past week. So you can pick up all 12 issues in a collected trade. But hey, I'll see you guys later. Bye.